Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So The Harder They Fall is a Netflix original Western, and this one that stars a lot of big hitters like Idris Elba, Regina King, Zazie Beetz, Jonathan Majors, a lot of really great actors in this film. And the overall story is something that you have seen in other Westerns, but it's also done in a way that is different. And so the general story is we have this person named Nat Love, and Nat Love, when he was young, experienced something really horrific due to Idris Elba's character named Rufus Buck, because Rufus Buck did something that Nat Love will never forget. And basically ever since he was a child, he has been on this revenge journey, him along with his gang, the Nat Love gang, which involves people like Zazie Beetz, who is Stagecoach Mary. We have another one, Beckworth. He's a really quick gunslinger. And we have many other people, including Delroy Linrow as a sheriff. Okay, and so that is our main cast of characters. And then on the other side, Rufus has his own gang, really led by Regina King, who plays this person named Trudy Smith. And then there's also another guy named Cherokee Bill, played by Lakeith Stanfield, who is also a quick draw, and other characters as well. And so you could probably tell by the end of the story, they come to a head, and we have our Western shootout movie. Now, getting to the thing that I really did enjoy about this film is the overall story itself. Now, even though you have seen these type of Westerns before, this is basically a revenge story. The way in which this movie is really more character focused and less action focused is something that initially I really wasn't into, because I was expecting action. But by the end of the film, the way in which the characters evolve, the way in which you see the characters, go in different directions, and the story ends up in a place that I really didn't expect, it was really satisfying by the end. And that's probably like one of the best things about this, is the story is familiar, but it's also different, and it's also satisfying. Okay, so the next thing I absolutely loved about this film is the cast. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we have Idris Elba as Rufus Buck, Regina King as Trudy Smith, we have Jonathan Majors as Nat Love, Zazie Beetz as Stagecoach Mary, and then we have some really stellar acting from Delroy Linrow, which I absolutely pretty much love all his movies. He plays Bass Reeves. And then my favorite character, surprisingly, out of this film is actually Cherokee Bill, played by Lakeith Stanfield. So he's this really quick gunslinger, and it reminds me so much of Tombstone, specifically Val Kilmer's character. And so everybody in this particular movie just brings a top-notch acting, and they're very memorable. The way in which they acted, the characters are written in a way that's very interesting, and at the same time, I really did enjoy watching every one of them. Even when the characters no longer exist, I actually did miss them whenever they would die in a battlefield or something. And so the acting here is superb. And of course, we could not have a Western movie without some action, and this movie definitely has it. Although it might not be as much as you would expect. As I mentioned, this is a character-based movie, but the director, James Samuel, does a really good job in directing the action when it comes, because the action here is very visible, it's raw and violent, and at the same time it's very interesting, because he'll have a gunshot or shootout, and then there be these quick zoom in, and it really adds to the overall impact of the action. And because this is a movie that really doesn't shy away from violence, I really did appreciate the bloody gunshots that they had, and the final action set piece, where they have the final shootout between all of them. It was really awesome to watch, and it was well worth it. And so if you enjoy Western action, you will enjoy those moments when they come. And so the final thing that I would say this movie does well is just the overall production quality. Everything from the set design, the way the film looks, the cinematography, the music, all of these things go really well together. And I really appreciated how James Samuel uses this to actually help tell the story without saying too much. So for example, a lot of the colors in here, they're very gritty, Western, but they're also colorful. But at the same time, you see a scene where things are completely contrasted to that. There'll be more white and pale, but it's done for a reason. And so a lot of these visual elements, audio elements, all serve to tell the story, and I think it's done in a really high level. So thumbs up to the overall production quality of this movie. For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy. the premier tool used at geekoutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below. Now, getting to the things that I did not like about this film, even though I absolutely loved the action when it came, this is really not an action-driven Western. So as I mentioned earlier, this is more of a character-driven movie. And so if you were expecting constant shootouts and so forth, you're not going to get this here. But when the action does come, it is worth it. And then the second thing that I didn't enjoy as much is Idris Elba's character, Rufus Buck. Even though whenever you're watching the trailer, he is a big presence in this, and he does serve a big presence whenever he's there. But the thing is, he's really not in that movie much at all. And by the time you get to the end of the movie, you kind of understand why. But at the same time, I would have loved to see more of Idris Elba and that character. And so those are my thoughts on The Harder They Fall. This is definitely a fun Western film. And it's a type of film that you normally don't see much nowadays. But the way in which it was done, the entertainment value, and the overall stellar acting is one that I definitely say you should not miss. So if you actually had any thoughts on this, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And if you did want to see more of my action film reviews, I do have an entire playlist. I'll leave that in the description area as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And if you're a creative geek like me and you want to get exclusive access to more content that I don't put out here publicly on my YouTube channel, then join my Gold Content Creators group, where you're going to get content like this and more for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators group.